tennis legend Annabel Croft is one of the latest contestants to sign up for this year's Strictly Come Dancing. This comes just 3 months after her husband Mel, who was a huge fan of the show, died after a short battle with cancer. Annabel says she signed up to enjoy the joyfulness of dancing. Gloria, this is something you can relate to, isn't it?
Absolutely relate to it. Annabel, by the way, is a marvellous, strong girl, and I went to Mel's memorial service, and something like 400 people turned up, you know, to support them, which was marvellous. In terms of my daughter Caron, I want to say that grief is at all levels, because I've lost a former husband, my parents, good friends, and so on. But for me, and it's my personal opinion, I think when you lose a child, or Annabel's case, she's lost her husband, and she's got 3 beautiful children. In my case, I went to a level that I never thought was possible. I call it the black hole. And I never thought that I would get out of it, because every time I tried to climb up the black hole, I would just fall right down again. So it's important to remember that grief comes in all shapes and forms. And if any of you are going through it at the moment, I really, you know, you have my thoughts on that. And you think at the time, at least I did, I thought I would never laugh again, never be happy again, because I thought that loss would be, is or was so great that I could never cope with that. And one of my sons actually found that really sad, because, of course, they're my children as well. But at the time, your brain is scrambled, and you really can't cope with what I would call ordinary life. Somehow or other, toast got made, because the children lived with us for a while. Toast got made, you know, you function, but you're not really functioning.
Tell me about that letter you got from a member of the public.
Well, the letter was amazing, because it was written on a piece of jotter paper and a bit torn. And when you've presented request programmes on radio, as I have, you sort of always looked at a piece of jotter paper, but this woman was profound. And she said to me, what you have to do now, after saying she was sorry about Caron, she said, you have to remember that Caron's spirit was huge, and she had a really big soul. But you must also remember that the soul is bigger than death, and death is never the end. Now, that was profound, and it makes you gulp. But then you begin to think about it in your more quiet moments. And eventually, you have to sort of join life again, because you've, in my case, I love your husband, love your children, love your grandchildren at that point. And so, therefore, it either could take you out at one point, because you're just so much in the depths, or you have to join life again, and it's a head job. I did. But anyway, there's one little thing that, because I live by some of the advice people sent to me, and I send this actually to anybody who's going through it at the moment, because this letter said, there will be days forever when you'll want to look at Caron's photographs and weep. But she said, you've got to remember that if you weep until the second you die, or if you weep just forever and ever and ever, you're not going to change anything, and you're not going to bring her back. Now, I gulped at that, but when I thought about it, I thought she's right. Yeah. But on the other hand, her end piece was, go and do something positive. So that's what we do. We have a foundation that raises money for all kinds of cancer all over the country, and every time I write a cheque to a charity, I think I'll think of Caron all the time, but I think she would be so amazed and so proud of the fact that this is done in her name. So to go back to Annabel just for a minute, Annabel, you're so strong. And when I did Strictly Come Dancing, and what did you say, Jane, 2005? It was a relatively short time after Caron died. I could find nobody in my family tell me not to do it. But they almost insisted that I did it. And what they said was, it'll give you a chance to smile again and laugh again. And that was the truth, because I became a sort of different person again. Yeah. And that also is just, oh, look, actually, that's not bad. Actually, that's my first week. I was a waltz. I did that all right. I read that in the 3rd week. But Annabel, all I would say to you is it's a great step. And I nearly didn't do it, but I'm glad I did, because it gave me, because you feel guilty about laughing and smiling when you've lost somebody so dear to you. Yeah. And that took the guilt away, if you know what I mean. Yeah.
So, I always think that grief, you know, and I've lost people, you know, I've lost people in my life, and I think the grief doesn't go, you grow around it. But it's interesting, because a friend of mine at the moment is going through a major breakup, and she's like keeps expecting that she shouldn't be feeling this anymore. And I said, you know, grief comes in so many ways. Even a relationship, it's very similar when a relationship ends to the grief that you have when you lose somebody. I mean, do you remember the pain when you were younger? If you broke up with somebody, it was just unbearable.
Because that happened to me when I split up with Lauren's dad. So he moved in with a new partner opposite where we lived.
Oh,
and so I used to see them two coming out together every day, and I used to play sad music and just sit and cry and wallow in it. It was just like...
Oh, wallowing. We don't wallow in.
No, we don't.
Do we?
But I loved crying. I hated seeing them walking past them. I wanted to kill them. But, no. But
When you were younger,
when
you were younger as well, to proper wallow and find a song that would really get you
Just
going.
keep playing the same song over and over.
Do you remember the Champ? The boxing film, and I'd cry and cry. Or like to put a song in and like have a drink and just like be a bit sort of Hollywood, sort of crying and drink.
And it's all right to cry.
Get it all out.
Well, I think I'm terrible now. This is my crying. I never wallow in anything. I go... and then I'm back in the room. My girls keep saying to me, Mum, that's really bad for your health.
I think that's a sneeze, isn't it?
I don't know what it was.
Let it all out, let it all out.